As you journey through life, you experience moments that shape who you are, the choices you make, and the values you hold close to your heart. Living in your later years in the USA, you've seen so much change, culturally, socially, and even within your own family. It's been a long and beautiful journey, filled with its share of highs and lows. And now, as you stand at a place in life where you've earned the wisdom that comes with age, there's a profound peace in the way you approach each new day. There's something uniquely powerful about this stage of life, something that the younger generations might not fully understand yet. The quiet strength you carry is something that has been built over years of lived experiences, where each challenge, each triumph, and every lesson has led you to where you are today. The things that matter most now, your peace, your joy, your purpose, are the things you've worked so hard to build and protect. No one can take that away from you, and that's an incredible realization. At this point in your life, you've likely experienced moments where your decisions, your choices, and even your lifestyle have been questioned or critiqued by others. But here's the truth. Your choices are yours and yours alone, and they are valid. You've earned the right to live life on your own terms. Whether it's the way you spend your time, how you handle your finances, or the way you engage with others, the choices you make now reflect a life well lived. You may have heard opinions from friends, family, or even strangers, offering their thoughts about your spending habits, your routines, or your priorities. Maybe their words were meant to be helpful, or perhaps they came from a place of concern, but they still carry a sting. You know, deep down, that your life, your path, has been shaped by your own experiences and the lessons you've learned along the way. And the truth is, no one can fully understand the reasons behind your decisions, no matter how well-meaning their advice may be. It can be hard, especially when those critiques come from people you love or respect, but you've learned that your worth isn't defined by the opinions of others. It's natural to feel the pressure to explain yourself, to justify your choices. But there's a quiet wisdom in letting go of the need to defend yourself. It's not about avoiding conflict. It's about protecting your peace. You've lived long enough to understand that the most valuable thing you can hold on to now is your inner peace. And sometimes, the best response to criticism isn't an argument or a defense. It's a calm smile, a gentle acknowledgement, and moving forward with the confidence that your choices are yours, and they don't need anyone's approval. Now, I want to hear from you. If you found comfort or truth in what I'm sharing, please take a moment to comment below and let me know you're with me on this journey. It's so important to reflect on the life you've built and the strength and wisdom you carry with you every single day. So, take a deep breath, let go of any judgment you may have been carrying, and allow yourself the freedom to live unapologetically, knowing that your journey is uniquely yours. As we get older, we realize that the choices we've made throughout our lives are not just about the big moments. They're about the little things too. Every day, in every decision, we are shaping our story. And what a beautiful thing it is to finally understand the weight of that freedom. When we were younger, it might have felt like the world around us was full of expectations. Society, family, even friends all had their opinions on what we should do, who we should be, and where we should go. Sometimes it was easy to get caught up in trying to meet those expectations. We worked hard to please others, to follow the rules, and to live by a set of standards that often didn't even feel like our own. There were moments when we questioned our choices, wondering if we were making the right decisions or if we were on the right path. But as the years go by, something changes. We start to realize that, at the end of the day, it's our lives we're living, not theirs. And in that realization, a quiet but powerful sense of freedom begins to grow. You start to understand that the choices you make now are reflections of who you are, of what you've learned, what you believe in, and what you truly want. Your decisions become more about what feels right to you, rather than trying to conform to the expectations of others. In a world that constantly demands answers and opinions, there's a deep peace in knowing that it's okay not to have to explain yourself. The beauty of personal freedom is that you no longer need permission. You've earned the right to live authentically, to make decisions that align with your values, your happiness, and your peace of mind. Whether it's choosing how you spend your time, how you express yourself, or who you allow into your life, you've earned the right to make those choices without the burden of judgment from others. But let's be honest, this kind of freedom doesn't come easily. It takes time, and sometimes it takes a few difficult lessons along the way. We may have spent much of our earlier years worrying about what others thought, feeling guilty about decisions that didn't fit the mold of what was expected, and apologizing for things that we had no need to apologize for. But as we get older, we start to see that these are the things that make us unique. These are the things that set us apart and make us who we are. It's empowering to realize that your choices are yours alone to make. They are an expression of your individuality, of your lived experiences, and of your unique journey. Whether you're deciding how to spend your retirement years, how to spend your time with loved ones, or how to take care of yourself, each decision is an opportunity to embrace your personal freedom and live life on your terms. And perhaps the most important part of this freedom is realizing that we no longer have to defend our choices. How often have we felt the need to explain or justify our decisions, to seek approval or validation from others? As we get older, we realize that it's okay to simply say, "This is what feels right to me," and leave it at that. We don't need to offer explanations. We don't need to convince anyone that we've made the right choice. The simple act of standing by our decisions without fear of judgment or the need for validation is incredibly liberating. As you think about the choices you've made, what stands out? Are there moments in your life when you made a decision that felt deeply personal to you, something that truly reflected who you are? Maybe it was a small choice like taking up a new hobby in your retirement years, or something bigger like a change in how you approach relationships. These choices are pieces of your personal story, and no one else can tell them for you. Have you ever found that, as you've grown older, you've been able to make decisions that feel more you than ever before? Maybe you've learned to say no to things that drain you, or yes to things that bring you joy. Maybe you've learned to stop second-guessing yourself and to trust your intuition more. These are all signs that you are embracing your personal freedom. So, what choices are you making today? Are there any that stand out as especially significant to you? I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. How has your sense of personal freedom shaped your life as you've grown older? Please share in the comments below, and let's continue this conversation. As we age, we often find that life has a way of teaching us the value of peace. When we were younger, we may have felt the constant need to explain ourselves, to justify our choices, or to defend our actions to others. We worried about what people would think, whether they would understand our reasons, and whether they would approve of the decisions we made. It was as if we had to continuously prove ourselves, to earn validation for the way we lived our lives. But as the years pass, something changes. We start to realize that defending ourselves, especially when it comes to our personal choices, often drains our energy, creates unnecessary stress, and can even harm relationships. The truth is, we don't always owe anyone an explanation for the way we live. We've earned the right to make decisions based on what is right for us, without having to prove ourselves to anyone. Letting go of the need to defend ourselves is incredibly freeing. It's a shift that comes from a deep understanding that our choices, our beliefs, and our actions are valid simply because they are ours. No one else needs to validate them for us. And perhaps the greatest gift of all is the freedom that comes with accepting that not everyone will agree with us. That's okay. What matters is that we are at peace with our own decisions. Think about the times when you felt the urge to explain or justify your choices. Maybe it was when you decided to downsize your home, or when you took up a new hobby that others didn't understand. Perhaps it was when you chose to spend more time alone, or when you made the difficult decision to end a relationship or a long-standing obligation. These moments can be difficult because, as humans, We often crave understanding and approval from others. But there comes a time when you realize that the peace you gain from letting go of these justifications is more valuable than any approval you could receive. When we let go of defending ourselves, we create space for inner peace. We no longer feel like we have to explain our every move or try to convince others of our choices. It's not about being arrogant or dismissive of others' opinions. It's about understanding that our worth is not defined by their approval. We are worthy simply because we exist, and our decisions are valid because they reflect who we are and what we've learned. It's important to recognize that this doesn't mean we stop communicating or sharing our thoughts with those we care about. Instead, it means we stop over-explaining, justifying, or seeking permission. We don't need to argue or fight to defend our decisions. Sometimes, the most powerful response to criticism or disagreement is simply silence. Not silence in a way that dismisses others, but silence in a way that protects our peace. By stepping back and not engaging in every argument or debate, we are showing wisdom and strength. It's a sign that we understand that some things are better left unsaid. This also applies to the way we handle criticism. Criticism can be tough, especially when it comes from people we care about. But over time, we learn that not all criticism is worth internalizing. When someone criticizes our choices, we don't have to take it personally. We don't have to defend ourselves or explain every decision. It's perfectly okay to let some things go and not feel the need to prove anything. Sometimes, the best thing we can do when faced with criticism is to smile, nod, and move forward without feeling the need to justify our actions. In fact, doing so can often diffuse tension and prevent unnecessary conflict. It's an act of strength to simply acknowledge that, yes, this is my life, and I am at peace with the choices I've made. Have you ever had a moment where you stopped defending yourself and felt an immense sense of relief? Or perhaps there was a time when you decided not to engage in a heated argument, choosing instead to walk away or stay silent. These are powerful moments of personal growth. When we let go of defending ourselves, we give ourselves the gift of peace. We are no longer bound by the need for approval, and we can live our lives more freely, authentically, and peacefully. What has been your experience with letting go of the need to explain or defend yourself? I'd love to hear your thoughts and any moments where you felt a sense of freedom from no longer justifying your choices. Share with me in the comments below. I'm eager to hear your stories. As we grow older, we start to realize that some things simply aren't worth fighting for. The need to be right, to argue every point, or to prove ourselves often loses its appeal. Life has a way of teaching us that sometimes the wisest choice we can make in a conflict is not to say anything at all. Silence, when used in the right way, can be far more powerful than words. It's easy to feel the temptation to jump into every argument, to stand our ground, or to explain ourselves when we feel misunderstood. After all, we've spent years gathering knowledge and experience. We've lived through ups and downs, seen things others haven't, and perhaps we feel the need to share our wisdom. But the older we get, the more we come to understand that there are times when silence speaks louder than anything we could say. Think back to moments in your life when you've been in the midst of a heated argument or a conflict, whether it was with family, friends, or even strangers. In those moments, it's easy to feel like you have to defend your stance or correct someone's misconceptions. But as time passes, we learn that engaging in every debate can create more tension and misunderstandings. Often, it's not the debate that matters, it's the relationship, the peace of mind, and the emotional energy we protect. In situations of conflict, silence can act as a shield, protecting your peace and preventing escalation. Instead of throwing fuel on a fire, stepping back and choosing not to respond can actually defuse the situation. It's a reminder that not every disagreement needs to turn into a battle, and sometimes, walking away or taking a pause is the best course of action. Consider the political debates or heated discussions you've been a part of over the years. How many times did you find yourself engaging in an argument simply for the sake of being heard? Maybe, in the end, it didn't even change anyone's mind. We learn, as we age, that the goal isn't always to win the argument but to maintain the peace and protect our well-being. The beauty of silence in conflict lies in its power to preserve relationships. When we remain quiet, we allow the other person to have their say without interruption. We create an environment where both parties can reflect and process, rather than engaging in a back and forth that leads to more frustration. It shows maturity, restraint, and wisdom, qualities that are developed over time and can make a significant difference in how we navigate disagreements. Silence also gives us space to gather our thoughts before responding. Have you ever spoken in the heat of the moment, only to regret your words later? Over time, we learn that it's okay to take a step back, to give ourselves time to reflect, and to choose our words more carefully. Often, we don't need to say anything at all, especially if what we might say could add more pain or conflict to the situation. There's something incredibly powerful about knowing when not to engage. It's a sign of strength, not weakness. It's also a demonstration of emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize when an argument won't lead to anything productive. By not responding, we save ourselves from unnecessary stress and protect our mental and emotional health. Have you ever been in a situation where you chose silence, and it made all the difference? Maybe you avoided an argument with a loved one, or you chose not to engage with a person who was trying to provoke you. Reflect on how it made you feel afterward. Often, we discover that the peace we create through silence is far more rewarding than the temporary satisfaction of winning an argument. It's also important to note that silence doesn't mean indifference. It doesn't mean we don't care. On the contrary, silence can be a profound expression of care. It shows that we value the relationship more than the need to prove ourselves or to argue. It's about knowing when to pick your battles and when to let go. As we age, the conflicts we face often become more about preserving our peace than about winning arguments. So, the next time you find yourself in a disagreement, remember the power of silence. It's not about shutting down the conversation. It's about allowing space for understanding and showing respect for both your own peace and the other person's perspective. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever experienced the power of silence in conflict? Did it change the outcome of a difficult conversation? Share your experiences in the comments below, and let's reflect on how silence has helped us in maintaining peace and understanding. As we grow older, we often become more attuned to the world around us. We see and experience more of what life has to offer, both the beauty and the challenges. One of the greatest gifts we can give others is kindness. But as we age, we also learn that kindness isn't just about giving freely. It's also about knowing when to hold back, when to say no, and when to protect ourselves from being taken advantage of. For many of us, kindness comes naturally. We've spent a lifetime helping others, offering advice, lending a hand, and providing a listening ear. Our hearts have been open to those who need us, and we've shared our wisdom and love without hesitation. But over time, we begin to see that not every request for help is coming from a place of genuine need. Some people may take advantage of our kindness, and we start to realize that we can't always give without considering the impact it has on us. Discernment is the ability to judge well, and it's a crucial skill when it comes to kindness. It means recognizing when someone truly needs help and when someone is simply asking because they know we'll say yes. Being kind doesn't mean we have to say yes to everything. It's important to recognize our own limitations and to take care of our own well-being, both emotionally and physically. As we get older, we might find that we don't have the same energy or resources we once did. The demands on our time and energy may have changed, and we may no longer have the ability or the desire to offer help in the same way we did when we were younger. This doesn't mean we've become less kind. It just means that we've learned to protect ourselves by being more discerning about where we place our energy. Think about times when you've said yes out of a sense of obligation or guilt, only to find that it drained you emotionally or physically. Have you ever agreed to something because you felt you should, rather than because you truly wanted to help? Over time, we learn that it's okay to say no. In fact, sometimes saying no is the kindest thing we can do, not just for ourselves but for the other person as well. By being discerning in our kindness, we can offer our help in more meaningful and sustainable ways. We can direct our energy toward causes and people who truly need it, rather than spreading ourselves too thin. This doesn't mean we stop being generous or helpful. It simply means that we've learned to be more mindful of how we give and when we give. Being kind and generous doesn't mean sacrificing ourselves in the process. Sometimes we need to step back and assess the situation. Is the person truly in need, or are they asking for something they can manage on their own? Are we giving because we genuinely want to help, or because we feel pressured to do so? These are important questions to ask ourselves before we offer our time, money, or emotional support. Moreover, we learn that not everyone will appreciate our kindness, and that's okay. As we age, we come to understand that giving without expectation is the key to true kindness. But we also recognize that it's important to set boundaries to protect ourselves from being taken for granted. Setting healthy boundaries is an act of kindness. 2. It's about preserving our own mental and emotional health so that we can continue to help those who truly need us. The wisdom of discernment in kindness also extends to how we respond to the needs of others. We learn to listen more carefully, to assess situations with greater clarity, and to offer help when it truly matters. We no longer feel the need to be the fixer or the person who always has the answer. Instead, we become more thoughtful in how we offer support, understanding that sometimes the most helpful thing we can do is to offer a listening ear or a word of encouragement. Think about the relationships in your life. There may be some people who constantly ask for your help but rarely offer anything in return. You might feel drained by these relationships, and it's okay to recognize that it's time to set boundaries. You don't have to say yes to every request, especially if it leaves you feeling depleted or resentful. Discernment in kindness isn't about being selfish. It's about being wise. It's about knowing that your well-being matters, and that by taking care of yourself, you're in a better position to help others when the need is genuine. It's also about recognizing that there are different ways to be kind, and sometimes the kindest thing you can do is to say no or to take a step back. In your own life, think about how you've learned to discern where your kindness is best placed. How have you protected your own energy while still being generous and caring? Reflecting on these moments can help you understand how much wisdom you've gained over the years in knowing when to give and when to hold back. As the years go by, you begin to realize that the constant need to be right or to win every argument is less important than maintaining peace. In our younger years, many of us were quick to argue, eager to prove a point, or defend our beliefs with passion and sometimes even stubbornness. But with age, wisdom teaches us that peace, understanding, and harmony often outweigh the satisfaction of being right. At some point, we all come to a crucial realization. Arguing for the sake of winning can often create more harm than good. It might result in strained relationships, hurt feelings, and unnecessary tension. The older we get, the more we value maintaining smooth and peaceful interactions, whether it's with family, friends, or even strangers. The peace we carry within ourselves becomes much more important than the urge to prove a point or win an argument. In relationships, whether with your children, your spouse, or your friends, the desire to be right can sometimes cloud your judgment. Have you ever found yourself in a conversation where you felt strongly that you were correct, but the person you were speaking with wasn't going to see things your way, no matter what? It can feel frustrating, right? But as time passes, you begin to see that arguing isn't always worth the emotional energy it takes. Instead of continuing to push your point, consider stepping back and asking yourself, is this really worth the conflict? Sometimes, simply agreeing to disagree is the best option. By choosing peace, you can preserve your relationships and protect your own sense of calm and balance. Life is short, and there is wisdom in letting go of the need to be right. The more we embrace the peace that comes from understanding others, the more we find joy and harmony in our lives. At some point in life, you realize that it's not about winning debates or proving yourself. True strength is about knowing when to stand firm and when to let go. It's about understanding that your inner peace is more valuable than being able to tell someone, "I told you so." This shift in perspective can make a world of difference in how you approach your daily interactions. We live in a world where differences of opinion are inevitable. Politics, religion, lifestyles, and beliefs. These are just a few of the things that can create friction between people. The temptation to convince others to see things from our perspective can be strong. But wisdom teaches us that we don't need to convince everyone, nor do we need to have the final word. Sometimes the best thing we can do is to choose silence, to let the other person hold their point of view, and to focus on maintaining a peaceful connection rather than a victorious argument. You might think about how this plays out in your relationships. Have you ever had an argument with a loved one that didn't really lead to any resolution, but just caused more frustration? In these moments, it's often more productive to take a step back, breathe, and give each other space. You don't need to argue until the point is proven. Sometimes, just giving each other the benefit of the doubt and letting things go is the most loving thing you can do. By letting go of the need to be right, you begin to see that relationships are more important than winning. When you focus on peace instead of being right, you create an environment of mutual respect, trust, and understanding. You allow for differences of opinion without feeling threatened by them. It's a much healthier approach to relationships, and it can bring a deeper sense of satisfaction. Another part of this wisdom is recognizing when it's better to simply walk away from a conflict. There's a time to engage in conversation and a time to let it go. If you find yourself in a heated debate where it's clear that neither side is going to change their mind, sometimes the best option is to agree to disagree and move on. There's no shame in walking away from a conversation if it's no longer productive. It's about protecting your peace. As you get older, your priorities shift, and one of the greatest things you come to value is peace of mind. You begin to realize that protecting your inner calm is one of the most important things you can do for yourself. This doesn't mean you avoid conflict altogether, but rather that you choose your battles wisely. You learn that it's okay to let some things go and that, in the grand scheme of life, being right in every situation is far less important than maintaining a peaceful and loving environment. So, when was the last time you let go of being right for the sake of peace? Reflect on how that choice affected your relationship with the other person. Was it liberating? Did it help preserve a connection? These moments of reflection help us appreciate the value of peace over the need to always be right. Remember, the wisdom that comes with age often teaches us the beauty of compromise, understanding, and letting go. If you've had any experiences where peace meant more than being right, share your thoughts in the comments below. How has this shift in perspective shaped your relationships? As we grow older, we begin to see that strength isn't always about loud declarations or assertive actions. Instead, quiet strength becomes one of the most powerful attributes we can possess. This kind of strength doesn't need to be announced to the world or validated by others. It is the quiet, steady force that helps us navigate life's challenges with grace and dignity. When you've lived through decades of experiences, you come to understand that real strength isn't about fighting every battle. In fact, some of the most powerful moments in life come when you choose not to engage. Sometimes the most impactful thing you can do is to step back, assess the situation, and choose not to react. This is the essence of quiet strength, being able to face challenges without feeling the need to prove anything to anyone. Think about the times in your life when you've been through difficult moments, whether it's the loss of a loved one, the struggles of aging, or the challenges of relationships. These are the moments when quiet strength becomes vital. You may not always have the energy or desire to fight through every obstacle, but what you do have is the ability to persevere. Quiet strength allows you to keep going, even when things seem difficult, because you know that the storm will pass, and you will emerge from it stronger, wiser, and more at peace. The wisdom that comes with age often teaches you that the most profound strength is found in patience. It's in those quiet moments of reflection when you choose to let go of the need for control, when you acknowledge that not everything can or should be fixed. There's a power in recognizing that you don't need to have all the answers right away, and that it's okay to sit with uncertainty. There is also a deep well of wisdom that comes from knowing when to speak up and when to remain silent. In earlier years, we may have felt the need to constantly voice our opinions or defend ourselves. However, with age, we come to understand that silence can be just as powerful, if not more so, than speaking. Sometimes, choosing silence allows us to maintain our inner peace, and it helps avoid unnecessary conflict. This wisdom doesn't come quickly. It takes years of life experience, but once you've discovered the power of silence, it becomes a valuable tool in preserving your well-being. As you get older, you begin to realize that strength doesn't mean being unshakable at all times. Instead, it's about being flexible, adapting to what life brings, and understanding that strength comes from your ability to stay calm and composed, even in difficult situations. You may not always feel physically strong, but your emotional and mental strength grows with each experience, teaching you that true resilience is born out of patience and inner calm. In relationships, quiet strength means knowing when to hold space for others without taking on their burdens. It's the ability to listen with compassion, offer a gentle word of encouragement, and sometimes say nothing at all when words aren't needed. Your strength lies in your ability to offer support without judgment, and in your understanding that sometimes the best thing you can do is simply be present. This quiet strength is also deeply rooted in your values. Over the years, you've learned what truly matters, and that wisdom guides your decisions. The more you grow, the more you realize that there's no need to constantly prove yourself or compete with others. Your strength comes from your own integrity, your ability to stay true to your values, and the quiet confidence that arises when you no longer feel the need to seek validation from anyone else. The wisdom of quiet strength also teaches you the importance of self-care. It's not about being a superhero or carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. Instead, it's about knowing when to take a break, when to prioritize your health, and when to nurture your spirit. You understand that self-care is not a luxury. It's a necessity for maintaining your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Have you ever felt like your strength was tested in a quiet moment, perhaps when you chose to let something go instead of fighting for it? Reflecting on these moments of quiet strength can help you understand the power of patience and acceptance. It's in these moments that we learn some of the most important lessons of life. So, as you continue on your journey, embrace the quiet strength that comes with age. Know that your calm, patient presence is a powerful force, one that can navigate the challenges of life with grace. True strength isn't about always being loud or active. It's about choosing your battles wisely, holding on to your values, and knowing when to speak and when to listen. As we grow older, one of the most profound lessons we learn is the importance of living authentically. There's a quiet power in being true to ourselves, and it becomes clearer with each passing year that living authentically is not only about honoring who you truly are but also about letting go of the need for external approval. In our younger years, many of us may have tried to fit into molds set by society or by others. We might have been influenced by what people thought we should do, how we should act, or who we should be. The desire to meet expectations or conform can sometimes overshadow the voice inside us that wants to express itself freely. But as we grow older, we realize that these external pressures begin to lose their grip on us. Living authentically means recognizing that your value isn't determined by others' opinions or by societal standards. You are not defined by what others think of you or by what they expect you to do. Instead, you come to understand that your value comes from within, from your own experiences, your choices, and your ability to live according to your beliefs. This authenticity is something deeply personal, and it's a gift that you give to yourself as you navigate life's journey. When you live authentically, you begin to make decisions that reflect your true self. For example, you might choose to spend time with people who make you feel happy and at peace, rather than those who drain your energy or cause you stress. You may also find that you are more inclined to pursue activities that bring you joy, rather than those that are done out of obligation or a desire to impress others. Authenticity doesn't always mean doing things that are easy or comfortable. Sometimes, living authentically means setting boundaries, even when it's difficult. You may find yourself saying no to invitations or requests that don't align with your values or that don't feel right for you. This ability to set boundaries without feeling guilty is one of the greatest acts of self-care you can give yourself. It's about honoring your needs, your peace, and your mental well-being, even if it means disappointing others occasionally. As you get older, you start to let go of the things that no longer serve you, and this allows you to fully embrace the things that matter most. Whether it's pursuing a long-lost hobby, reconnecting with an old passion, or simply spending time alone to reflect and recharge, living authentically allows you to find a deeper sense of fulfillment and happiness. Moreover, living authentically is about accepting your imperfections. When we're younger, we might have been more focused on achieving perfection or meeting certain ideals. But as we age, we realize that no one is perfect, and that's okay. The beauty of authenticity is embracing all parts of yourself, your strengths and weaknesses, your successes and failures, and knowing that they all contribute to who you are. By accepting yourself fully, you begin to give others permission to do the same, creating a space where you can be yourself without fear of judgment. It's also about being true to your beliefs and values. With age comes the wisdom to see beyond the superficial aspects of life, and you start to recognize what truly matters to you. Your principles, your faith, your sense of right and wrong. These are the guiding forces that help you live authentically. They give you a strong foundation to stand on, even when the world around you is chaotic or uncertain. You may find that as you grow older, you become less concerned with fitting in and more focused on standing tall in your own truth. Living authentically is not always easy. It can be difficult to break away from the expectations placed on us by others or by society. But once you begin to embrace who you truly are, you experience a sense of freedom that is difficult to put into words. This freedom comes from the knowledge that you are no longer pretending to be someone you're not. Instead, you're walking through life in your own skin, at peace with yourself. As you reflect on your journey, think about the moments when you felt the most alive, the most at peace, or the most connected to your true self. Chances are, those moments occurred when you were living authentically, when you were following your heart, and when you weren't afraid to express who you really are. The beauty of living authentically is that it allows you to leave behind a legacy of true self-expression. When you live in alignment with your values, you inspire others to do the same. By being true to yourself, you show others that it's possible to live a life of integrity and fulfillment. So, as you move forward, continue to live authentically. Let go of the pressure to conform and embrace the beauty of being yourself. Remember that the more you embrace your true self, the more joy, peace, and fulfillment you'll find. You've earned the right to be exactly who you are, and that's something to celebrate. Have you ever had a moment in your life when you decided to live authentically, even if it was difficult? What did that moment teach you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about the importance of living true to ourselves, no matter where we are in life. As we journey through life, one of the most meaningful realizations that come with age is the understanding that the legacy we leave behind isn't about wealth, accolades, or accomplishments. What truly matters is the love we gave, the understanding we shared, and the way we impacted the lives of those we loved and cared for. When we're young, it's easy to get caught up in the race of life, striving for success, building careers, or seeking recognition. But as we grow older, we begin to see that the most valuable treasures in life aren't tangible. Instead, they lie in the relationships we've nurtured, the moments of kindness we've offered, and the wisdom we've shared with others. Our legacy is built on the hearts we've touched, not on the things we've accumulated. This legacy of love and understanding is not about grand gestures or perfect actions. It's about showing up for the people in your life, whether that means offering a kind word, lending a helping hand, or simply being present when someone needs you. In the end, it's these small acts of love and understanding that have the most lasting impact. As you grow older, you begin to realize that your actions, no matter how small they seem, have a ripple effect. The love you show to your children, your friends, your family, it doesn't just end with them. It spreads to others through their actions, their words, and their attitudes. You create a chain of kindness that continues long after you're gone. But it's not just about what you give to others. It's also about how you receive love and understanding. As you age, you begin to appreciate the importance of forgiveness, both toward others and yourself. You learn that holding on to grudges or resentments only weighs you down, while letting go opens up space for peace and love to flourish. When you forgive, you free yourself and create an environment where love can thrive. Another part of this legacy is the wisdom you've accumulated over the years. You've experienced highs and lows, joys and sorrows, and with that experience comes a deep understanding of what really matters. You begin to recognize that the most important thing in life isn't how many things you've done, but how much you've loved and how deeply you've understood others. Your wisdom is a gift that can guide the younger generation, offering them perspective and insight that they may not yet have. In the later years of life, you also gain a new perspective on the importance of relationships. Perhaps, looking back, you realize that the moments spent with loved ones, whether it's sharing a cup of tea with a friend, chatting with family members, or holding hands with a partner, are the moments that truly define your life. The time you invested in building and maintaining these connections is the real treasure, and it's this love that becomes the cornerstone of your legacy. It's also important to understand that a legacy of love and understanding isn't about perfection. We all have moments of miscommunication, mistakes, and misunderstandings. What matters most is how we handle those moments. When you approach challenges with love and empathy, even the hardest situations can lead to healing and growth. Your ability to be patient, to listen, and to offer understanding in times of difficulty is what will stay with those around you. And as you move forward, you realize that the true measure of a life well lived is not how much you've achieved, but how much love you've shared. The people who remember you will likely not recall your professional accomplishments or what material possessions you had, but they will remember the warmth of your smile, the kindness in your words, and the way you made them feel valued and understood. This legacy is also a reminder to continue living with intention, especially in your later years. Every day is an opportunity to show love, offer understanding, and make a positive impact on those around you. The lessons you've learned and the wisdom you've gained can continue to benefit others, even in your later years. You can still make a difference in the lives of the people you encounter. So, as you reflect on your life, think about the ways in which you've loved, understood, and supported others. These are the moments that will endure long after you're gone. The legacy you leave behind is not something that can be measured in material things, but in the love and understanding you've shared with the world. As we age, the lens through which we see the world changes. We move from seeking external validation to valuing internal peace, understanding, and authenticity. Our choices become more rooted in who we truly are, rather than who others want us to be. The wisdom we gain through life's trials and triumphs teaches us that peace is far more valuable than being right. And kindness is not about giving everything we have, but about knowing when to say no to preserve our own well-being. Living authentically, letting go of the need to defend ourselves, and embracing the wisdom that comes with age allow us to build a life rooted in love, understanding, and respect, not only for others but also for ourselves. The legacy we leave behind, shaped by our experiences and lessons learned, becomes a testimony to the power of authenticity, self-awareness, and resilience. It's easy to feel overwhelmed in the fast-paced world we live in, but when we embrace who we truly are and prioritize our peace, we invite the kind of fulfillment that's only found within. Every decision, big or small, becomes a step towards the life that is truly ours. One where we are not defined by the judgments of others, but by the strength of our own choices. As you move forward in life, I encourage you to hold onto the wisdom of these lessons. Your journey is unique, and living it authentically will lead you to the peace and joy you deserve. We all have the power to write our own stories, with authenticity and grace, no matter where we are in life. What have you learned about yourself as you've gotten older? I'd love to hear your thoughts and reflections. Share them with us in the comments below.